Well, good morning. Thanks for joining me today. So, if you're not already in your spot, go ahead and come into your yoga practice spot and find a seat that feels comfortable for you. So, you might be sitting cross legged, you might be sitting in another way. You could sit up on your heels with your knees bent if that's comfortable for you. You could be sitting on a chair for some of these movements if that's more comfortable. So, take a moment to find a seat that is comfortable for you. And as you come into your seat, allow your eyes to close. Begin to check in with how you're feeling today. And so sometimes when we step on the yoga mat, we might be kind of sleepy or tired. Sometimes we're already pretty energetic. Always keeping in mind that if you have injuries that you're working with, that you can always skip anything that's not appropriate for that injury. And if you're unsure, you can always leave a comment and I'll write back afterwards. So, as you are checking in with how your body feels and noticing if there are any areas you want to take particular care of as we practice, also notice how your mind is today. There's a lot going on in the world, so notice where your thoughts are at. And as we're practicing, see if it's possible to, at least for the duration of the practice being present with what is right now. So, whatever is present in your mind, whatever is present in your body, allow yourself this time to practice the art of paying attention. All right. And so, as we now draw our palms together in front of the heart, allow your fingers to interlace, press your palms forward and up. Start to reach up through one hand and up through the other, left and right a few times. Give a little tug on your fingers as you lengthen up through each arm, down through each side of the torso, sensing into the low back. All right, let your hands separate, take them behind your back. Interlace your fingers there, squeeze your shoulder blades together, open up across your chest. Begin to turn the head gently from side to side. All right, and then reach your chin up and drop it down. Again, lifting up and dropping down. And one more lifting and dropping. All right, so as you bring your head up to center, release your hands to come and rest on your thighs, and then shrug your shoulders up, back, and down. Again, shrugging up, back, and down, and then once more up, back, and down. All right, take the right hand down to the floor and just walk it out a little bit so you have something to lean into. You're part of the way into your side bend already with that hand position. And then take your left hand to your left shoulder and start to rotate. And let this circle that you're drawing here with your left elbow be nice and big. But also notice through this circle that you're drawing with your elbow, what parts of the rotation have different sensations. So there might be places within the rotation that are intense and others that are kind of mild or non existent sensation. Change directions if you haven't already. All right, then we'll sweep the left arm up alongside the head. And as you reach with your left hand, just squeeze and release the fingers, as well as rotate through your wrist a few times each way. All right, so now that the next time you inhale, you can lift up. And exhale, release your left hand down. Just as we did on the first side, slide it out a little bit so you're already partway into a side bend. And then take your right hand to your right shoulder and start to circle. And as you're rotating through your right shoulder, again, notice what it feels like, the whole path that your right elbow is drawing, and more specifically, what it feels like in your shoulder as your elbow draws a big circle. And change directions if you haven't already. All right, now sweep that right arm up alongside your head, reaching with the right hand, squeeze and release the fingers a few times, as well as rotate through your wrist, both ways. All right, and then inhale, lift up. And exhale, release your arm. All right, so now we'll transition onto our backs. And as you come down onto your back, just start with your knees bent, feet resting on the floor. But then let those feet step a little wider than your hips. So that now, as you start to sway your knees from side to side, they're able to do so without bumping into each other. So you can really explore your full range of motion, rotating your legs in and out. And as you're doing this, notice not only your hips, but also the response all the way up your spine, all the way up your torso. Are you getting more movement perhaps in one of your shoulders versus the other as your legs are moving in this way? All right, and then slowly come to stillness at center. We'll do a little breathing practice here before some more movements. So go ahead and make sure that your arms are in a position that's comfortable for you. You might have them overhead, you might have hands resting on your belly or arms along the floor. But you might also now drop your knees in toward each other just so that the legs can support each other. Take a moment to let your shoulders drop heavy into the floor. And now the next time that you breathe into the count of 3. Hold the breath in for 3 more counts. And then exhale to 6. Repeat. Inhale to 3. Hold for 3. Exhale for 6. Inhale to 3. Hold for 3. Exhale for 6. Take a few more rounds in this way. After the next time that you exhale to the count of 6, go ahead and release the control of the breath and let your body come back into a natural and easy pace and volume of breathing. All right, and then take both of your knees in toward your chest, give them a squeeze. Rock a little bit from side to side. All right, let your legs separate enough so that you can rotate through your ankles a few times each way. All right, release the right leg along the floor. Keep that left knee drawn in, pick your head up, bring your forehead near your knee so you're rounding your back. And then release your head down to the floor. Cross this left knee over toward the floor on the right. So you're just rolling onto your right hip. Hips are stacked or pretty close to it. And then maybe this left knee is touching the floor. Maybe it needs a little bit of support underneath it if you have a pillow, a block, a blanket. And then take your left arm back over to the left. I often tuck the left foot behind the right knee here so that my whole leg is sort of on the same plane, and it tends to be a little more comfortable to have the foot tucked behind the right knee. And then see which way your head wants to turn, left or right or somewhere in between. Noticing what sensation catches your attention here. All right, take one more cycle of breath. And then guide that left knee back through center. And then just keep your left knee bent as you now drop it out to the left side so that your left foot is approximately at your right inner thigh. All right, now also walk that right foot in and then cross your left ankle over your right thigh. Draw the legs in toward the chest, reaching through for your right leg. Maybe you grab around your right shin or behind your knee. If grabbing all the way through to that right leg doesn't work for your proportions, maybe you just grab your left leg, hold on to the knee and the foot, and start to use your arms to draw the leg in instead of your other leg to push your left leg in. Because really, what we're doing in this posture anyway is finding sensation in the outer left hip, but also perhaps some other areas of the body. So if reaching all the way through for the right leg is not comfortable, just focus on that left leg. Rock a little side to side. Another couple of breaths. All right, release the feet down to the floor. Again, step your feet wider than your hips so your legs have lots of room to drop in and out here. All right, this time let your left leg straighten. Take your right knee into your chest. Give it a gentle squeeze. Pick your head up. Bring your forehead near your knee. And then releasing your head back down to the floor. Cross the right knee over toward the floor on the left. And again, you're just rolling fully onto your left hip. So your hips are kind of stacked, one on top of the other. And then take that right arm back over to the right. And as you come into this twist, you might, like me, tuck your right toes behind your left knee if that feels more comfortable. That's an option. As well as putting a little support underneath your right knee if you would like some support. Blanket, pillow, block, whatever you might have. See which way your head wants to turn. And then start to let your whole body relax into all of the places that you find support in this moment. All right, so after your next breath, slowly guide that right leg back through center, keeping the knee bent. Now drop it out to the right side so that your right foot is approximately at your inner left thigh. Pause a moment there, just letting your legs be heavy. And then also bend that left knee, walk the foot in. Cross the right ankle over the left thigh. Bring your legs in toward your chest. Again, reaching through for the left leg, maybe around the shin or behind the knee. Or if grabbing all the way through to that left leg is not comfortable, just focus on the right leg itself. Hold onto your foot and knee, drawing them in using your arms. Take a couple rounds of breath. All right, release your feet down to the floor. Again, step them a little wider than your hips and sway your knees side to side. This time, let your head also turn. So perhaps your head turns the opposite direction your knees are dropping. All right, as you come back to relative stillness, take both knees into your chest, but this time we'll interlace our fingers behind the head, picking up head, neck, and shoulders. So the knees are in nice and close, head, neck, and shoulders are lifted up. Take a breath in here at center. And then as you exhale, take your right elbow toward your left knee and extend your right leg. Inhale, pull that right leg back in, come to center. Exhale, twist to the other side. Each time you inhale, come to center. Exhale, twist, alternate sides. Go at your own speed, as well as pause and rest anytime you need or want a rest. All right, so after the next time you reach with your left elbow, and then you come back to center, release your head, your feet, your arms, and one last time, let the knees sway side to side. Again, let your head move as well. And if your head was turning opposite your knees the last time we did it, let your head go the same way as your knees, perhaps. All right, coming to relative stillness, take the knees back into the chest. This time, take your hands behind your knees. We're going to give the feet a little kick and start to rock forward and back along the length of the spine. So give your feet a little kick, rocking up, briefly pausing, and then rocking back. And just do this a few times. So each time you rock up, you briefly pause, and then rock back and forward again. All right, now the next time that you rock up, go ahead and pause. Find your balance. Now, before we even straighten the legs, lift the chest. Relax your shoulders down and back. You want to feel like your torso is nice and long, going up and back at an angle. So try not to let your chest and belly sink down, but lift up. Now, you've got lots of options here for your legs. You could stay here with your knees bent, holding onto your legs. You could take one foot down to the floor and try to straighten out one leg. If you do that, do the other side as well. You could straighten both legs. You could reach your hands towards your toes, but keep lifting your chest. Most importantly, breathe. Whether what we're doing is fairly easy for the body or more challenging, make sure that you're breathing in a way that supports whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's easy or hard. All right, 2 more breaths. All right, take your feet down to the floor, and we'll come up onto hands and knees. As you come to hands and knees, bring your hands underneath your shoulders and your right knee under your hip, but step your left foot out to the side. All right, so with that left foot out to the side, we're going to do cat and cow in this position. So as you inhale, let your belly drop, lift your head and your tail. As you exhale, tuck your tail, round your back, chin toward the chest. Again, with your inhale, belly drops, head and tail lift. Exhale, tuck and round. All right, one more breathing in. And breathing out. All right, bring your torso back to neutral, walk your hands in, lift up. And then once you've lifted up, step your left foot forward into a lunge. And you might need to take a couple of steps forward depending on your flexibility, but then just start to press the hips forward. Take the right hand down to the floor. Now, this right hand might be a flat palm on the floor. You might form a fist to give your wrist a little bit more support. Or if you have a block, you might put a block underneath your hand to give your arm a little more length if it's tough to get the hand all the way down to the floor. So your hips are still pressing down and forward. Belly draws in a little bit to support your spine. Left hand to left thigh and gently twist toward your front leg. Couple rounds of breath. All right, take the left hand to the floor, shift your hips back. Left leg goes back. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Tuck your toes. Lift your knees, take your hips up. Find downward facing dog. All right, lift and lower the heels a few times. Checking in with the feet, the ankles, the backs of the legs, all the way up into the torso, shoulders, arms, fingers. All right, release down to your knees. Step the right foot directly out from your hip. We'll do a couple more rounds of cat and cow here. So left hip is over the left knee. Hands are under shoulders. All right, inhale, belly drops. Head and tail lift. Exhale, tuck and round. Again, inhale, belly drops. Exhale, round. All right, one more breathing in. And breathing out. Okay, bring your torso back to neutral. Walk your hands in towards your left knee, lifting up. And then once you've lifted up, take a step or a couple of steps forward with your right foot. As you come into a lunge, left hand comes down to the floor as a palm, as a fist, or a hand on a block. And then as you start to twist towards your right leg, right hand rests on the right thigh. Gently engage the belly to give the torso some support. All right, take one more breath. All right, then right hand to the floor, shift your hips back, take your right leg back. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Once again, tuck your toes under, lift your knees. Take your hips up into downward facing dog. All right, from downward dog this time, we'll inhale, rocking forward into plank pose. Shoulders over the wrists. Exhale, lift back into down dog 2 more times. Inhale, shift forward, finding your plank. Exhale, shift back. All right, one more. Breathing in, come forward. And exhale, shift back. All right, release to your knees and then come all the way forward and down onto the front of your body. Let your toes untuck. Walk your arms forward. Take your elbows underneath your shoulders. Gently pressing down through the forearms, but pulling the elbows towards the hips. So you feel like your chest is sliding forward through your arms. At the same time, reach back through your toes. All right, invite a little bit of softness, a little bit of movement into your neck as you turn your head side to side. You can draw an infinity symbol with your chin if you like. Or move your head in a more random way if that feels better. Take another breath or two. And then lower the heart down to the floor. Cross your hands to make a little pillow for your head as you now bend your knees and sway your feet side to side. All right, release your feet down to the floor. Press back up onto hands and knees, and this time we sit back towards our feet into child's pose. So sitting back towards the feet, you might take your knees wide apart. You might keep the knees close together, depending on how it feels in your hips as you now fold over or between your thighs. Head might rest on the floor, on a block, on your hands. But have this general sense of your hips moving back toward your feet and your head moving forward toward the floor. So even if your spine isn't arcing, like if you have your legs wide apart, your torso is going to be a little bit more neutral. But so even if your torso isn't arcing, the head and the hips are kind of gently moving away from each other. All right, take a few rounds of breath here, and we'll revisit that breathing practice we did laying down. So the next time that you breathe into the count of 3. Hold the breath in for 3. And exhale for 6. Again, inhale to 3. Hold for 3. Exhale to 6. And keep going at your own speed. And now after your next long exhale, release the control of your breath. And then moving as slowly as you would like, come into your seated position once again. You might be sitting cross-legged, you might be sitting on your heels, or if you've got a little bit more time in your day, you might come onto your back and rest on your back. But if you are coming into a seated position, bring your palms together in front of your heart. As we bow to the light within ourselves, we also bow to the light within each other. Thank you again for practicing with me today, whether you're here with me live or on the replay. Let's see, where are we at Today's April 16th, so I'll do another 2 this month on Wednesdays, the 23rd and 30th. And then I'm also doing Saturdays for the next 2 weeks. So whatever those dates are, 19th, I think? Yeah, 19th and 26th. So in March, I'm gonna do an experiment with 4 PM on Mondays. So things will change, not March, May. In May, things will change a little bit. But for the rest of April, Wednesday and Saturday. All right. See you again sometime. Bye-bye.